Let's weave some front body stretches together. If you haven't done a warm-up or you haven't continued on from the last video, hit pause, warm up your wrists, shoulders, just get a bit of movement into your legs, and then let's get going. Start in child's pose. Make your way down. And we'll just spend a couple of breaths here, grounding. And just bringing your attention into your body and checking in with how you're feeling. And on the next exhale, as you empty the breath, roll up into a tabletop. And on the inhale, dip the belly, chest moves forward, and exhale, dome the back. Inhale, allow the belly to dip, and exhale, roll through to the back. Inhale, cow pose, and exhale, cat. On the next inhale, return to tabletop, tucking the toes, and exhale, moving into a downward facing dog. Couple of moments here to pedal it out. Take some intuitive movement, move in a way that feels good for you. And on the next exhale, as you're empty, step forward with your right foot, left to meet the front. On the inhale, lengthen, and exhale and fold. Inhale, rising up to the top, hands flowing through to a prayer position above you, and exhale, folding down. Moving nice and slow, generous bend in the knees. And a couple of breaths here. On the next inhale, lengthen, and exhale, fold. Stepping the right knee back, the right foot back, right knee hits the ground for a low lunge. Toes tucked at the back, feeling a nice stretch through your quad, into the front of your hip, your right hip. On the next exhale, hands to frame the front foot and stepping back to downward facing dog. Always just breathing comfortably for you. It's not important to sync the breath to the movement right away. That will come in time. Take a deep breath in, empty. Left leg steps to the front, followed by the right. Inhale and lengthen. Exhale and folding over. Inhale, rising up, vertebra by vertebra, hands above to prayer, and exhale, folding down. Inhale and lengthen, and exhale, fold. Taking a couple of breaths here, maybe a little bit of pedaling out of your hamstrings again. And on the next exhale, the left foot back, the knee drops to the ground into a low lunge. You might feel a little bit in the hamstring if you're able to move your knee over your ankle, but it's not important. I'd rather, if you have any knee issues, to be stacked. Again, you should be feeling this in the front side of your left, on the left of your body. Hands down to meet your foot at the front and stepping back to downward facing dog. Rolling through to a plank pose. Exhale down to chaturanga. And inhale, rolling over the toes for an upward facing dog. Rolling back over the toes for a downward facing dog. Inhale, stepping the right foot forward. Left to meet the right, halfway lift and fold. Inhale, rising to the top. Hands in prayer, bringing the hands down to your heart space. And stepping the right foot back for a high lunge. Hands can go high, back heel is off the ground. And taking a couple of breaths here. On the next exhale, hands float down, framing the front foot, stepping back to plank pose, lowering down to chaturanga, and on an inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, rolling over the toes to downward facing dog. Emptying the breath, the left foot steps forward, right to meet. Inhale and lengthen. Exhale and fold. Rolling up very slowly, the head is the last thing to lift. Arms go up high. And hands back down to the heart space. The left foot steps to the back of the mat. Adjust your pose so it's comfortable and stable for you. And hands go high. High lunge. On the next exhale, hands float down, framing the front right foot, stepping back to plank pose, coming down to chaturanga, half a push-up. Inhale, rolling over for an upward facing dog. Back to downward facing dog. Taking a couple of breaths here. Stepping and making your way to the front of the mat, whichever foot's preferred. Lift and lengthen. Exhale and fold. Rising on up. Hands to the top. Exhale, hands down to the heart space. Stepping the right foot back for a high lunge. Inhale. And on the exhale, opening up to warrior one, the back foot spins down and around and the heel plants on the ground. And exhale, we come back down and frame the front right foot. The left, or your foot from the front, will meet your back foot in a downward facing dog. Inhale, making your way to the front of the mat and lengthen. Exhaling and fold. Rising up to the top, the hands scooping around like you're grabbing the ceiling above you. And exhale, hands to heart space. Left foot goes back, high lunge. And on the exhale, rotating the back left foot so the heel hits the mat. In warrior one. Hands float down to frame the front foot, stepping back to downward facing dog. And a couple of breaths here. Making your way to the top of the mat, you can take some baby steps or stepping through, whatever's most comfortable. Inhale and lengthen. Exhale and fold. Inhale, rising up. The head the last to lift. And hands to heart center. Stepping the right foot back, high lunge. On the inhale. On the exhale, coming to warrior one. Taking a couple of breaths here. And on your next exhale, opening up to warrior two. And now we're going to cartwheel the arms up and around and down to frame the front foot, and stepping back to plank pose. Half a push-up, rolling over the toes into upward facing dog. Exhale. letting it all go to downward facing dog. Making your way to the top of the mat. Inhale and lengthen. Exhale and fold. A nice bend in the knees if it's needed, and coming up, rising up slowly. Hands to meet at the top. Exhale, hands to the heart space. Left foot moving to the back of the mat for high lunge. And on the exhale, warrior one. Taking a couple of breaths here. And on your next exhale, opening up to warrior two. Just have a couple of breaths here. You can adjust your feet if you need. Again, don't have them too tight together because it'll be quite unstable. Have a bit of a gap between your legs. Cartwheeling the hands up and around and down, framing the front foot, stepping back to plank pose. And we'll flush it out, chaturanga, half a push-up, rolling over the toes, upward facing dog. Exhale, returning to downward facing dog. Now we'll try and sync it together we've been going quite quickly already, but let's try and go one breath, one movement. So take an inhale in. As you empty, make your way to the top of the mat. Inhale and lengthen. Exhale and fold. Inhale, rising up. Hands to touch, and exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, the right leg goes back to high lunge. Exhale, opening up to warrior one. Inhale to warrior two. And exhale to reverse. Inhale, cartwheeling the hands down and around, framing the front foot, stepping back to downward facing dog. On the next exhale and empty, moving forward to the top of the mat. Inhale and lengthen. Exhale and fold. Inhale, rising up to the top. Hands to touch, and exhale, hands to prayer. Inhale, the left foot moves to the back of the mat. High lunge. Inhale. And on the exhale, opening up to warrior one. Inhale to warrior two. And exhale, reverse. Cartwheeling the hands down. Inhale. And rolling down to chaturanga. On the exhale, inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale to downward facing dog. Let's go one more time. As you empty the breath, make your way to the top of the mat and inhale. Exhale and fold. Inhale, rising up. Make it beautiful, make it smooth, like you're moving through honey. And exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, high lunge, right foot goes back. And exhale, opening up to warrior one. Inhale, spread your wings, warrior two. And exhale, reverse, flip the palm. Inhale, cartwheeling the hands down, framing the front foot, stepping back to plank pose, down to chaturanga on the exhale, and on the inhale, upward facing dog. Rolling over the toes, letting it all out to downward facing dog. And on your next exhale, making your way to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, and exhale, fold. Inhale, rising up. Hands to touch. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, the left foot goes to the back of the mat. High lunge. Exhale, opening up to warrior one. Back heel plants down, toes angled out. And exhale to warrior two. Or inhale to warrior two, sorry. Flip your palm and reverse it. And coming down, cartwheeling the hands. You know where you're at with your breath. I obviously don't. To plank pose. Down to chaturanga. Upward facing dog. And let it all go. Coming down to a child's pose, just to take a little break here. And notice if you can sense any changes from the first child's pose to this one. How do you feel in your body? Making your way up onto your knees. Again, if you have some sensitivity in the knees, get a towel to put underneath you. And we're going to move into camel. Just variation one. So I just want you to engage your quads, your pelvic floor. It's like we're rotating our hips forward. So I'm not sure if, I hope you can see that movement. Engaging the quads, hips, and then we can place our hands onto our glutes, make sure they're engaged and tight. And we just want to lengthen through our chest and abdomen. Expand like a balloon's puffing up here. And we can just feel a gentle lengthening of the spine and coming back to neutral. We'll try that another time. Make sure you've got your toes tucked for this. Apologies, I didn't have that in that variation, but it helps just provide a bit more strength through the front of your body. So engaging the quads, the hips, and then lengthening through the abs, taking a deep breath in, low into your belly, and pulling forward and up with your chest. Now, if you have it, you can lean back as well. We could try, and I don't want you to push with this one, but just to get your hands onto the back and the seat, onto your heels, and see how that feels for you. Just be sure to have your quads turned on, your glutes turned on, and that, I think, is as far as we'll push it for this flow. When we begin to involve the rest of the body, I'll invite us to open it up a bit more. So, making your way down onto your bum, swing the legs through, and we'll do a counter pose where we hug the knees to the chest. I'm going to finish with two bridges. So heels to meet your bum, hands planted into the floor, engaging through the quads, the hamstrings, and raising the hips up. Feeling a nice stretch through the front of the body and rolling down very slowly. Taking a little break, you can windscreen wiper the knees. It often feels good when doing some back bends, when having your back arched. It's good to release it. Counter poses are so crucial and important. Planting again, and on your own time, lifting up vertebra by vertebra. Taking a couple of deep breaths at the top. And rolling down slowly. So we're going to finish with happy baby. So this is another good counter pose, and if you bring your knees up, you can grab onto your ankles. It's important to have this bottom part of your back as flat as you can on the ground, just to provide the spine with a good foundation. You don't want to be cranking over like this. It just takes away the benefit. If you can grab your toes, you're welcome to. For me, just the ankles gives me exactly what I need. And just take a gentle rock from side to side. So this is called happy baby. And you'll experience this at the end of class in the wind down for counter poses before heading into Shavasana like we're about to. So, releasing the legs down for our final pose, Shavasana. Let the ankles relax and the toes to fall outward. Palms can be facing up if that's comfortable for you. And we'll take a couple of minutes of silence. We'll take a minute of silence and then I'll gently bring us back. There may be noises around you. It's totally fine. If your mind wanders to them, you can become aware of that and then bring yourself back to your bodily sensations, feeling your physical body pushing against the ground beneath you. You can come back to your breath in your belly. I have a Christmas party that I can hear over somewhere and in the background here. It sounds fun. However, right here is also exactly where I need to be. It's a powerful thing, opening up the front of the body, the heart space, the hips, the pelvis. And I just want to put the thought to you, what's something that you could be more open to today or in your life? Is there something that you've been resisting that potentially with a bit more of an open mind could be something that benefits you? Gently invite some movement back into your body when you're ready. Or you can just sit with that thought. There's no need to join me in a seated position. You can stay in Shavasana while I end this flow. But roll over to your most preferred side. Using your hands to help you up. You can keep your eyes closed. It's nice to keep them closed during this process to stay in the feeling state. Take a deep breath into the belly and sigh it out. One more time. And let something go. Through practicing this wonderful tradition of yoga, it's enabled me to become more open to life, more open from day to day. It's helped me become more hopeful, more grateful, more trusting. And I really hope that throughout this course, this introduction, that you begin to experience it may only be a glimmer of what I'm talking about, and with more practice and more time, the glimmers become shining, and then the shining is the light. And it's a truly beautiful thing. So thank you for allowing me to share this ancient tradition of yoga with you. I'm looking forward to getting into the next videos with you. Namaste. Up next is going to be the back body stretches. Feel free to stay in this feeling state for as long as you can before having to get up and move on to your day. Maybe you want to journal and write about it as well. That's always a good way to get a deeper understanding of your experience. Nonetheless, it's not a part of the course, it's not required. Lots of love. I'll see you in the next video.